Hi, I'm Lori Bunce, Realtor with Keller Williams Classic Realty Northwest. And many of my friends have been asking me lately, how is this shelter in place affecting your job as a realtor and generally the housing market? So first of all, here in the Twin Cities, there are still a lot of people buying and selling. Real estate is considered an essential service here in Minnesota, so we are moving forward. And with Zoom meetings and virtual tours and electronic signatures, we are set to go in this current situation. So if you've considered purchasing a home, please let me know. Mortgage rates are as low as they've ever been. Also, if you've been thinking of selling your home, believe it or not, this is a good time to sell. With those low interest rates, buyers are buying and they're eager, and we've had a housing shortage for a long time. However, if you have decided to wait and see, I want to encourage you to keep listening. If you're fearful of entering into a recession like in 2008, keep listening, because I want to go in depth and talk with you about the state of the economy right now and how it's affecting real estate. As you know, we have two crises right now, the health crisis and a financial crisis. The health crisis is so serious, and I pray every day for our healthcare workers and those affected by the virus. But I'm going to address the financial crisis and really how it's affecting real estate. Steve Harney explained in this webinar that the financial crisis is like this. A big pause button was hit on the U.S. economy. Some people are afraid that this will be equal to the Great Recession of 2008, when the mortgage and housing industry actually caused the crash. And this crisis was like someone hit pause on the VCR machine and then took a sledgehammer and smashed the VCR, breaking it into pieces. It took years to rebuild the housing market in 2008, and it was a long recovery, leaving the economy in a low valley for a long time. Drop, low recovery. This time it's very different. Once this health crisis has subsided, it's widely predicted that the play button will be pushed and we'll pick up where we left off. And just so you know where we left off, January and February of this year, more houses were sold in this country than any other January and February in the last decade. So we are primed for a phenomenal year, but we hit pause. And this time the pause was caused by a pandemic. Here's a slide from the webinar showing a forecasted V-shaped recovery. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and Morgan Stanley all make this prediction that we'll have a wild ride over the next 90 days with an abrupt stop, and then we'll come right back up again, which is the V-shaped recovery. And many economists predict the economy will bounce back up. In another slide, to support this idea, John Burns Consulting says historical studies show us that pandemics usually have a V-shaped recovery with little damage to home prices. These economists predict that the economy will come roaring back in about 90 days, along with home prices, and the economy will recover quickly. That'd be great. Their assurance is that if you lived through the 2008 recession, you don't need to fear that this will be the same. And here's a quote by Mark Fleming, chief economist of First American. Some remember 2008 and fear this will be the same, but there are distinct differences, and it will take a different path. While housing led the recession in 2008 and 9, this time housing may be poised to bring us out of it. That's very hopeful, and I like it. Economist David Rosenberg says a better comparison today might be the dot-com and 9/11 slowdown. Like this crisis, the shock of 9/11 generated anxiety and caused Americans to stay home and avoid others, having a similar effect on the economy to what we're having today, especially on the airlines and restaurants and large events. However, during that time when the S&P fell, there was still home appreciation. So that's a good comparison. The last slide I'm going to show is the annual home price appreciation. This slide shows the rates of appreciation for the 6 years leading up to the housing crash and leading up to today. You can see that while we have appreciation now, even the highest rate in 2017 is not as high as the lowest year in the housing crash. In other words, these economists agree that the American economy is in much better shape now than it was in 2008, and that indicates a quick recovery. So I think that's great news, and I wanted to pass that on to you. My encouragement to you is to avoid panic. Panic is what really kept us low in the 2008 recession. In view of these predictions by these economists, it might be wise to prepare yourself. So if you're thinking of selling, my advice is to get your home ready now during this lull, so that once these restrictions let up and people are crazy and ready to go, buyers, you can enter the race to sell your home at the beginning of the pack, getting the highest price in the shortest time possible. Or maybe you want to list now and beat the rush entirely. There's buyers out there, and that's something to consider. So let's have a conversation about it, all right? Call me or text me at 612-245-6696, and we just talk about it. All right. Have a great day, and stay safe, stay healthy.